Hey everybody, it's Jordan Rudess from Dream Theater, and you are presently watching Sonic Perspectives. Enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interview of Sonic Perspectives. I'm Rodrigo, and my guest today is the keyboard wizard himself from Dream Theater, Liquid Tension Experiment, and many other bands, Mr. Jordan Rudess. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure. Nice to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Well, first of all, you're in the middle of a run of solo shows in the US with a very intimate setting. How have the shows been so far?
I've done 2 shows so far, and it was great to get out there and do them. You know, I'm coming off of about 2 months of a European Dream Theater tour, followed by the NAMM show, which for those of you in the music business, you know how crazy that is. Yeah. And then I went directly to do my solo shows. So it was like a real whirlwind. It was crazy. And I just, you know, in the middle of doing all the Dream Theater shows, my brain was trying to organize how I was going to do these solo shows. And so as things go, you know, it came together and I got a plan. I didn't get to practice as much as I wanted to because we were going from country to country and, you know, just scheduling was madness. But I put it together and I did the shows and I feel great because I love doing the solo shows. It's really fun for me. It's great to go out and do my own thing. And I just musically, it's just a wonderful feeling. And now I feel even better because I got through those. I have a plan. I know what I want to do. I've got the technical part of it kind of like in my brain. So I'm looking forward to doing a summer of many shows, about 22 more shows to go.
Yeah. And you did a tour called From Bach to Rock a few years ago. Was that a similar kind of repertoire, kind of similar setting or?
Well, the difference, I guess, between Bach to Rock and what I'm doing now is Bach to Rock was really a very organized presentation of kind of like my career, starting from classical music to now and talking about it and walking people through the journey. This is not so much like that, although I do like starting off and playing some Bach because this is who I am and shows people a little bit more about me. And I do certainly talk about my interests, but it's not as much about that kind of thing. It's more that I'm just doing the things that I love to do and showing some cool technology, even playing some guitar and, you know, and just playing. And I'm very proud of this new Dream Theater medley that I put together that I'm actually still refining because I played it twice. But I didn't, as I said, I didn't have enough, I didn't feel like, you know, my usual self in terms of the amount of practice that I like to do before I go out and play. It was unusual to have that, to do that. But now I've been home for a while and I've been focusing on it and really manipulating and refining and like, so when I go out again, I've got this kind of very dialed in, you know, new Dream Theater medley that's very substantial. I'm really proud to present it.
Yeah, I saw it on YouTube the other day, and it's just amazing how the transitions go from one track to the next.
It's going to be much better. That's very sweet. I listened to it. I played it, and I listened to it, and again, I didn't have the time that I needed. So I want to erase that from YouTube and do it again because you know it's very, very it's complicated.
I bet,
so many songs, and it's on the piano, and it's, you know, it's a big transition to go from the band sound to the piano. So in thinking about it, I feel like I've made it a lot better, and now also practicing it. So I want to erase that from history that I did it, although I guess it wasn't so bad, but let's erase that and I'll do it again. And one of these days I'll record it properly as well.
Right. I better save that link from YouTube then and download it as soon as possible.
There you go. There you go. Right.
Well, and it's been a while since Dream Theater did a medley. Is there any reason for that? I mean, your medley is just so cool. It's Illumination Theory, October, These Walls, songs that you haven't played in a while, right?
Right. Yeah. No, I know. It's really fun to do that because our repertoire is so large.
Yeah.
And it's really fun also to to take what is a band sound and figure out how to make it work on the piano.
Yeah.
It's a big job. It's a huge job. But luckily, I also worked with my protege, Aaron Bushbug, who was the conductor, in Breaking the Fourth Wall. And also, he is the one who I found out when he was just a teenager, and he helped to orchestrate my Explorations piece. And when we premiered it in Venezuela, he was the conductor at a very young age. Super talented, kind of went off the radar a little bit for a while just with personal things, but now he's back and we work together because he's the perfect person. He knows the theater repertoire as well as anybody in the planet. And so he and I work together on organizing this and kind of shaping it. And then he also transcribed it for me. So yeah, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, well, you added some interesting covers too, Elton John, David Bowie, and I guess these were all key songs in your musical upbringing, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Early 70s kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, part of it, what I in my travels through Europe and my experiences with what I'm doing with my life, one of the things that I'm doing now is I'm a quote unquote ambassador for a company called Moises AI that's originated in Brazil, and a bunch of really cool people doing some very great musical, magical technology stuff. And what it does is the application is like an iOS kind of Android desktop piece of software, but it enables you to take any audio file and separate out the track. So anybody can have access to like whatever they want. They can do a Dream Theater song and just, have the guitar and the bass and the drums and the voice all on separate tracks. So if they're practicing guitar, they can take out a part and just play it themselves. So I realized, wow, this is so cool. I can be showing kind of like, this amazing music technology that I'm involved in and do these incredible duets. Like I took, the song Soon by Yes, and I'm like on stage, I'm kind of like showing how you can do like a duet with John Anderson. So for me, it's perfect because it covers all the bases. I get to show the technology. I get to entertain the crowd with something really special. I did a version of Moonchild at the last show.
Which Moonchild is that? That's not the Iron Maiden Moonchild, right?
No. That's the King. I don't even know that one. That's the King Crimson Moonchild.
Got it. Yeah. Well, speaking of influences, you played with Deep Purple a few years ago in Mexico, and I remember, I think it was just a one-off replacing Don Airey, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could play that material in your sleep, but that must have been quite an experience for you, right? Like John Lord's parts, right?
It was amazing. It happened so quickly. It was a whirlwind. A lot of things in I guess a professional career happened in this way that it's just like, you get an offer for something, you learn all the music, you play it, and then you're on to something else.
Yeah.
So I would say that was like a whirlwind adventure where I got home from a Dream Theater tour. It was right before COVID hit very hard. Matter of fact, the show was like the day before the world closed down. I always say, and I think it's true, it was the last big rock show before COVID hit. And I'm not kidding. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was like, tons of people in Mexico, a festival. It was nutty, wild and crazy. But so I got home and I learned all the music. I had some of my transcriber friends write some of it because I respond very well to like musical notation. So I could see it and I could learn it quickly. And then one of the things I did that was really interesting is that for the Deep Purple, the keyboard parts are very much based on the rock organ sound.
Hammond.
About the Hammond. So being the technology guy that I am, one of the people one of the companies I was working with at the time is called IK Multimedia, and they came out with this Hammond BX3. I want to make sure that that's what it's called, or B3X. We have to check software that is like the best Hammond emulation possible. And so I was able to, the end result of all that is I was able to play all the Hammond parts running off my iPad. The software was on my iPad. So I just connected my Kronos keyboard to the iPad, and everything that was an organ was coming off of there. And it sounded unbelievable. It sounded great, to the point where when I was in rehearsal, the Deep Purple guys, they didn't even blink. They just were like, that sounds cool. That sounds awesome. I don't even know if I told them it's like coming off my iPad. They didn't want to know. All they wanted to know is that it sounded really, Right.
Of course, yeah.
So I was very, very pleased with that. I mean, not, I'm not like a Hammond guy. Certainly, I come from more of a, classical piano and then
Yeah,
synthesizer background. But through the years with Dream Theater, I've done my share of like organ parts, and
yeah,
I've even got like it's not a B3, but it's a Hammond thing, that a newer Hammond keyboard they make. But the software is unbelievable, and it sounded great, and I
I
did that.
bet.
It was a great
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, I was at the Dream Theater show in Japan where you did the Made in Japan album. That was cool to see
Oh,
too. Yeah,
and that I did with the Kronos, which the
yeah,
organ sounds were not as good as the iPad
yeah.
sounds.
Well, that was a unique experience for sure, and
Yes,
I'm
yes,
happy to have been there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And back to your solo shows, I noticed you're also singing on a few spots, including
La, la,
Beneath the
la.
Surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
you did
yeah,
vocals on your solo album Wire for Madness too, right?
sure, I
Yeah,
did. Yeah,
yeah,
as you know. So, I mean, I like to sing. I'm a musical person. I like to sing, and it's always nice. I mean, my voice is lit like 2 octaves lower than James LaBrie's, and I'm kind of at a point with singing, especially in the live shows, where um, I don't know for a fact that I'm going to sing if I can. I also suffer from some allergies these days, and
Mm,
I'm not. I just say to people, if I'm feeling like I can do it that night, I will. And so far I've been lucky, and I kind of feel like, okay, certainly I'm not in a position as a professional singer who has no choice.
yeah,
They just have to sing no matter how they feel.
yeah.
So, but I sing when I can, and the great thing about it is that I'm my own accompanist.
Oh yeah.
So I can take time when I want. I can la la la, and then I can play a little piano part, and then
Makes
come
it
back
easy.
in, and it's very fluid in that sense, and it's really
Yeah,
enjoyable as well. So a
yeah,
very personal kind of thing.
right. And you're practicing guitar a lot more these days, and I think you're moving to Strandberg guitars, right? What motivated that change?
Well, okay, so I've been playing the guitar on and off, mostly off, for
Mm,
like my whole life. But when I say that, let's make it clear that I played guitar maybe 2 days in a course of a year, like for most of my life. I would never really. I pick it up occasionally and just like to doodle around. There's that one time when they captured me playing guitar because I had to, like during a liquid tension experience, because my keyboard stopped working.
right.
So there were a lot of instruments on stage, and I could always pick it up and do something, even though I wasn't really practicing.
Right.
So I went and I tapped John Petrucci, who at the time had his head down, doing some amazing thing on his guitar. I was like, "Give me your guitar, I'll play a little bit." And he moved to the Chapman stick, and Tony Levin moved to the bass, and
Oh
that's
wow.
part of history. But that was one of the 2 days that I had played guitar that year. Fast forward to about 7, maybe closer to 8 months now, I looked down at the guitars because John Petrucci, is awesome, and he through the years had kind of gifted me a couple of his amazing guitars, and which I played a little bit, and then more recently I got hold of a Strandberg guitar, which the Strandberg guys sent me,
Mm,
and through Pliny, this
Pliny.
amazing guitar
Yeah.
player, and I kind of looked at these, and I was like, I should really like spend more time playing the guitar, because why not? I mean, I've got these guitars. I like the
Yeah.
guitar. I want to do it. So I got inspired, and I started to practice every day, and which I've been doing, like literally, I think I've played every day
Mm.
the last 8 months. It's incredible. And I've been enjoying it so much, especially the Strandberg guitar, because it's so comfortable. It's so ergonomic to take with me anywhere I go. It's light. It feels good. And, I mean, nothing against like John Petrucci's guitar, which of course they're probably the
State of
Mercedes,
the
the
art.
Rolls
Yeah.
Royce of guitars. But, I'm just learning, and this thing is really light, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful, and it's well made, and it works for me right now. I want to make sure people are clear, on that. John is, the master of guitar and makes beautiful instruments.
Yeah.
But for me right now in my learning process and what I'm doing, this is really comfortable, and I can take it anywhere. It's super light, and I really have a lot of respect for the ergonomic design that they
Yeah.
built. So I am playing some guitar in the shows as well.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
One song I'm playing that's getting better now, and yeah, I'm enjoying that. That's great to share a little bit of that.
Yeah. Awesome. Let me ask you about some of your unique keyboards. The Harpeggi is one that you consider bringing on tour, but I don't think it ever happened.
Yeah.
Also, you used to have like a curved one, and I saw you do that on the Along for the Ride tour.
Right.
And finally, the Continuum. Any plans to use that anytime soon?
No, those are all really good questions, because I'm involved in all these different controllers, and people are always sending me instruments, and I'm like, I love it, but sometimes it's like, I'll play it and I'll go like, this is amazing, but then I have to focus on something, with the Harpeggi. So so I tried the Harpeggi years ago. I played it a little bit, and I have a lot of respect for the design of that instrument and what it does, but I didn't feel like it was something, after living with it a little bit, I didn't feel like it was really something that I wanted to be part of my, everyday musical life. I have so many different things to do. So that's kind of where it was at. I mean, it was really cool. I love the idea of playing a stringed instrument right in front of me. And maybe one of these days I'll pick it up again, now that I'm playing more like string instrument like that, like the guitar, just to see. But I wasn't inspired to bring it with me through the course of my personal journey. So I kind of let it go. And then the other thing you asked about, the new motion controller, that was awesome. Yeah. So really it was more, they asked me to kind of like be involved and to help them, because they were a company that was kind of trying to develop the ideas and everything. And I found that in the state that it was in, it was a little more of a showpiece, kind of a cool thing, rather than ergonomically making a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And even electronically, the way that it controlled things, it wasn't totally there for me. It was really cool that I used it and it looked cool, and but again, this is an instrument that kind of passed through my radar, which I used to as I did. And the Continuum, well, that instrument has a lot of history with me, because the Continuum, obviously, I used on some very important recordings, like Octavarium and in concert, and also the other thing that's important about the Continuum is that it was the first hardware instrument that used this kind of 3D touch that has become an integral part of my musical world with all the other instruments I use and all the apps I create. So it all kind of started with the Continuum and the original iPhones that were, doing amazing things with touch. Yeah. So that instrument has remained more in my life, although I don't play it that often, but it's more possible that that could come back into like a recording or something like that, just because it's an amazing instrument. And Lippold Haken, the guy who invented it, is also always refining the idea, and has come out like last year or whatever, he sent me a new version of it, which is a thinner version, more dialed in, like really, just a level up from what it used to be. So yeah, that's the story with that.
Yeah. And one of the cool things you did recently is the Sunflower EP to help Ukraine. That is still available, right, in your website?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's on Bandcamp.
Yeah, awesome.
Certainly through my website. Absolutely.
Yeah. And one of the recent releases you were part of, well, not so recent anymore, but is the third Liquid Tension experiment. What would be more likely at this point, a fourth album or a tour of Liquid Tension?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, the touring thing, as we know, has been very complicated.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of backed up with touring. And so it's hard to say. I mean, we haven't really entertained a Liquid Tension tour since we've been working so hard on just getting the things back to normal that have to happen. So from that point of view, maybe it's more realistic that we would go and do another album first.
Okay. But when remains to be discussed, right?
Yeah, all the when.
Ifs and whens and buts. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, you're doing the solo tour until August, and then there's a complete change of gears as Dream Theater resumes touring. What are the other guys doing between tour legs?
Yeah, what are the other guys doing? I'll have to catch up with them. I generally know what they do, like Mike Mancini is doing his online courses, and he's amazing with his setup there, this drum room and his Zoom and all the students and everything like that. And John Mayung, of course, we know, is sitting at home and he's practicing,
of course,
shredding
in silence,
doing drills and exercises, and in the basement. And John Petrucci, I think, has a new line of bourbon out, and he's busy with his products and his very full life with everything that he does. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but I'm sure he's being very productive, as he always is. And James has a promoting, as you know, has his new solo album. I see he's still actively getting the word out and promoting. So everybody in this group is very productive and busy doing their stuff.
And you're playing the Rock in Rio Festival in my homeland in a few months. I just saw yesterday that there was a change in the lineup, and Iron Maiden will play before Dream Theater.
Wow. That's a good opening act right there.
Right? Yeah, that's a first, I think. There's a first time for everything, but Maiden, opening for Dream Theater is a first.
I don't think that's the way they're looking at it, but we can look at it that. It's good for my ego to look at it that way.
Well, I saw the tour here in Toronto, and this time you're not doing the evening with format.
Right.
Can we expect this to go back in the future at some point, or what's the?
Well, maybe. I don't know. Everybody kind of feels like, we were so many years we were playing such long shows, and it's so exhausting. It's just kind of like, give us a break. Like, let us be human here. Like, I kind of feel like, I don't know. Like, for me, doing these shows and having an opening act really works nicely. I'm not saying it will never happen again, certainly. But for right now, it's kind of like a good thing to allow people to breathe a little and not have to kill themselves. But so long shows.
Of course. Yeah. For James too. I mean, it's some rest for his wife.
Last time I checked, he was a human being. So
of course. You
got to keep that in mind.
Yeah. Well, A View from the Top of the World, to me, is a highlight of this lineup. It's probably my favorite since Mangini joined. How would you compare, like, the way you channel your creativity now versus when you joined the band? I mean, does that come from the same spot, the same process, or?
Well, when I joined the band, there was a lot to learn. Even though I had worked with John and Mike in Liquid Tension Experiment, still when I walked into Dream Theater, it was very different. And it was very different because, first of all, we've got a singer in the band, but maybe even mostly because it was a style that had been developed and almost secured and turned into even in those days, you could almost say it was like the Dream Theater brand. So I needed to learn and just be educated what that really was all about. First of all, it was a new thing to me to have this international audience with all these eyes on everything and all these people who were so, like, engaged with it all, and every move we made would matter to them. So I spent some time really absorbing that and learning how all that works, and then how it affects what I do in the group. Like, what things anything was possible in Liquid Tension Experiment, because it was just like a soup with all of us throwing in our ideas and mixing it up. But in Dream Theater, you're walking into something that's established already. So, and luckily for me, I could relate. That's why they hired me. I could understand and relate to the styles that they were doing, but still, I'm a different person, having not been in that group and established what they had done up to that point. So the question was, how am I going to fit in, which was a big question, which they assumed I could, So how to fit in, but also the challenge was how to fit in, but also offer what Jordan Rudess can bring to the situation. So that, is definitely a learning curve. So, over the years, so now it's been how many years? 23 years or something like that.
Wow.
And I feel like, I understand the parameters here. I know what I'm dealing with orchestrationally. I know what I'm dealing with stylistically. I'm still not the one who's the keeper of the Dream Theater brand style. I mean, I still can all of a sudden play something that's like Frank Zappa or who the hell knows what, at like a Broadway show, and people will look at me like going, not sure that maybe a solo album. I mean, that's who I am. I'm musically here. I'm musically there. Yes, I can do this, but I'm also, all over the place. So I think, but they also depend on me for that, because Dream Theater is a group that's part of what we do. We're down the line here, but also we're, oh, wow, it sounds a little like this. And that's what makes it progressive and quirky and cool. And, there's sections in our songs which kind of go to make a turn, and you go, what the hell am I listening to? That's part of my role in bringing some of that into the mix. So, but at this point, the difference is that I'm much more clear on how I fit into this group that I was not an original member, that I joined. So and that's,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
even 23 years later, that has it's kind of like a place in the way that things happen.
Got it. Interesting. Interesting to notice that.
Mm.
And kind of to celebrate the good moment that you guys are in, you won a Grammy.
We
Recently.
did? Oh my God, that's incredible.
Well, my question is, are accolades like this important to you? I mean, of
Yeah.
course, Grammy is like something to celebrate for sure, right?
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So my perspective of it is this, like, you know, for many years when I joined Dream Theater, the Grammys were like, that didn't involve Dream Theater. That was a whole different thing. There was no possibility on earth that we were doing a Grammy because we were a progressive metal group, and wasn't part of our world.
Yeah.
And, you know, not that many years ago, all of a sudden we were like, wait a minute, why
nomination.
not? Yeah, like, why shouldn't it be? We're a very popular group all around the world, and we're doing music like other people, and we should try to get recognized. So, you know, with our own intention and also with the help of the record company, we kind of put some energy in that area and let people know that, hey, hello, we're Dream Theater, like, notice us. And this is our music, this is our song. Let's try to fit it into a category. Let's make it work. And in applying energy to that and everything, we were able to secure, you know, 3 nominations. Yeah. Years. And this is all actually after our founder, Mike Portnoy, left, which is incredible to think about, because there was a lot of music when Portnoy was in the band that was also, you know, really great.
Grammy worthy.
I think so. I mean, the spirit carries on, and, you know, you go back and you look at the catalog, this is great stuff. Of course. I don't say so myself. But the way the world works and the way that worked for us is we kind of entered that area later on and got noticed, and our career, you know, evolved to be that. And now, you know, this year, of course, we were nominated and then we won. Yes. Which is incredible, because we really did apply ourselves to that goal. And we've been working so hard all these years. And it's the one award that I feel does make a huge difference in one's career. And it's because everybody and their mother knows what a Grammy is. So it's the first thing that goes on everybody's resume. You know, it works in that way. It opens doors. It's an amazing award, and it's great to be recognized by your peers, because the Grammy, the way the voting works is that your peers are voting for you. Oh yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I have to say, it's all good. I'm just waiting for my Grammy to arrive. Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, I think you're eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame already. Maybe that's in the cards soon. I don't know. And I don't know. Have like a reunion kind of thing. From your mouth to God's ears. Well, I'm hoping you guys can just get together and jam. I don't know, some sort of celebration like that. Yeah. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Yeah. No doubt. Well, before I let you go, are there any plans for Dream Theater to tour Australia, New Zealand this time around? I mean, another run of North America and Europe? Fantastic question. Well, I know more about the idea of coming back to North America and going back to Europe. I mean, in general, conceptually speaking, although there's no dates, I mean, usually we do 2 runs in Europe, 2 bigger runs in Europe, and we do 2 bigger runs in US. So everything flowing the way it should. I'm planning that one of these days I'll get some dates thrown at me, you know, to go back and do both of those legs. As far as Australia goes, that's a question. I mean, I know that I'm not sure what's going on there, like COVID-wise or whatever, but I know that that's an area we generally cover. And also, we are going to Japan, but we're only doing like 1 show there, which is the Download Festival. Yeah, it's a festival. But there's more to do there too. So I don't know. So, you know, it's all a little tricky because of the world having shut down and then things opening up, and kind of trying to figure out how to do all this when every other band is in the same situation and, you know, vying for dates. Yeah. So but there's definitely a lot more touring to come. And we'll know when we'll know. Definitely. Yeah. Well, Jordan, thank you so much. Nice chatting with you as always. All the best with the next dates, and hoping you can come to Toronto sometime soon. Awesome. Nice to see you. Thank you for the good interview, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers. Thanks, man. Bye-bye. Okay.